What is going on, guys? David Braga here again with some more NFL news. You saw the Jordy Nelson video earlier today. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the pass interference rule that they've now put in place. Owners voted. I don't know if I have owners passed the provision 31-1. So there was one owner that was not in favor of it. But now in game, you can review pass interference calls, both offensive and defensive, and both if it's called and if it's not called. And I don't really know how to feel about it because part of me really likes it because it's another opportunity that we're giving officials to correctly make calls. Making sure that we're getting the calls right. And part of me thinks that they're still going to get calls wrong. Which, and they're going to leave it up to, sort of, it's still going to be situational. It shouldn't be that hard, but I'm still skeptical that they're going to get calls right. I don't, it's hard for me to say if this will be, it says it's a rule change only for the 2019 season. So I assume it'll probably just go back to normal after that. I don't foresee this being a super long-term rule that they'll continue to move forward with in the years following that. Although I do think after what we saw in the NFC Championship game with the Saints and Rams, that this is a good thing. It's calls like that where it really does determine the outcome of a game. I think back to 2012, me being a Packers fan, the Fail Mary, where Golden Tate and MD Jennings both went up for the ball, both came down with the ball. I thought it was pretty clear to everybody that MD Jennings was the one with the ball, but it shouldn't have mattered because Golden Tate pushed Sam Shields in the back. So, it should have been offensive pass interference anyway, and had this rule been in place then, when they were reviewing it, they could have said, hey, that's pass interference. That's an offensive penalty. Game over. But, also part of me also thinks, you look back at the Hail Mary at the end of the half in the playoffs a few years ago, Giants and Packers, when Randall Cobb caught the touchdown. Maybe he pushed off, maybe he didn't. I don't know if this is going to take away from those 50-50 balls where, it's the end of the half, end of the game, quarterback's throwing the ball 50 yards, saying a prayer. I think those are exciting plays. I don't think they should be taken out of the game because, we have to review it to see if there's a pass interference call. So I'm curious to see how they call pass interference, if it's still going to be, by the book, pass interference or not. So I think it'll be an interesting thing to pay attention to this year. We've seen roughing the passer calls be, a prevalent part of the game. We've seen, defense illegal contact has been sort of brought up for attention. But part of me is also concerned that it's gonna I think it was I forget who it was. I think it was Adrian Amos, actually, new Packer, that tweeted out, where does this stop now? Are we gonna say that we can review holding, like when an offensive lineman is holding? Are we gonna review face mask, or are we going to review, et cetera, et cetera? I think he just used holding. But, I think it's a fair question, and I think that the answer to that is there is a line, because pass interference has always been one of those 50-50 calls, as opposed to something like holding or a face mask where it's pretty clear if it's happening. So I think this is a good, I think at the end of the day, I'm going to say that this is a good thing. I don't think it'll be a long-term thing. Like I said, this is just in place for the 2019 season, so I think they're just kind of testing it out to see how it goes. I think it'll be good. I'm not concerned about this adding time to the game because they have to review every other play. I want them to get the calls right. It's that simple. Get the calls right and don't affect the game as much as you have been by getting them wrong. So I think end of the day, I think this is a good thing for the league, and I'll be interested to see how this rule change affects the season. Our quarterback's going to take advantage of it and start, throwing the ball deeper. We've quickly become more and more a quarterback's league, and I think this will kind of add on to that. I'm just very curious to see what happens moving forward into this 2019 season. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any opinions on the rule change, be sure to leave those in the comments down below. If you like this video, be sure to like it. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.